Hey, Joyful Journeyer. Anita Adams here, your host. And today I'm thrilled to introduce you to Amy Swan. Amy is a transformational coach, motivational speaker, and author. Her book, Becoming an Athlete From Gamer to Real Life Adventurer, provides an inspiring story on how Amy personally broke away from living a sedentary life on her digital devices and getting outside to explore movement and the outdoors. She has managed to hold a career in software development while fostering her adventurous lifestyle in a way that is possible for all. Welcome, Amy. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Anita, it's a pleasure. I'm so excited to talk with you and your listeners.
Yeah, and I love this. There's so many people, myself included, and I move a lot, and yet I know I need to get up and move my body more. So I'm really excited to hear about your story and dive into this topic and how to get out of that sedentary lifestyle.
Sounds
So
good.
why don't we start with you explaining what happened to awaken you to change your habits and to get you off the couch and outside.
Yeah. Oh gosh, isn't there a moment when
I'm
we
sure
wake
there's
up and we
several.
say, "Oh, I mean, so many moments," but this one in particular, yeah. I got a bachelor's in education and a master's at the University of Oregon, Eugene. Go Ducks for people who follow that. And all the while, I wasn't athletic. I wasn't athletic in school. I didn't like physical education. I didn't like traditional sports like running. It just like hurt my lungs and hurt my body. Just didn't feel good. And I was often always last to be picked on a team for team sports. And so I just didn't gravitate to movement when I was younger. But I got into education while I was in my master's program. I got addicted to World of Warcraft back when it first got introduced. And if a Legend of Zelda game came out, I basically told my entire friend base, expect not to hear from me for the next 2 weeks because this is all I'm going to do. And I would just get sucked in. So I don't know how I graduated with my master's program, to be completely honest, because I was just completely cut off from the world. If I would talk to somebody in real life, that's what we would call it in World of Warcraft. We would just say RL, real life. um, yeah, I couldn't make eye contact. I couldn't form words. My brain just wouldn't process. And during that time, I was in my 20s, and I knew I didn't have great health, but I was so young, and I figured that I would get there eventually. And I was a musician. I was a professional musician. So one day at a gig, we were taking a break, and I picked up my French horn. I played French horn. I turned around to put it on my chair to go and take a break, and my back threw up. It just gave up.
Wow.
And I was in my 20s.
I was going to ask how old you were. Okay, that's pretty young for your back to be going.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that my mom had a problem with it. My brother had a problem with his back, and it it scared me.
Mm.
So, especially when I turned 30, I looked back at my life and I said, "Oh my gosh, I need to do something about this." That's really what happened is I turned 30.
Oh, I see. Okay, a little bit of a wake-up call. All
It
right.
it was a wake up call. Well, there was more than just throwing my back out. I felt arthritic. I had depression. I had a hard time feeding myself because when I'd get so sucked into video games, I would lose time. You know how
Yeah.
screens, they sort of put us in an alpha state. It's a hypnotic state. And we lose ourselves. We're so immersed in that character. It's like we're experiencing it ourselves. Right.
I'm not a gamer myself, but my husband has had episodes, if you will,
Mm.
where he gets so engrossed in the game. And I remember, I don't know if I should tell this story or not, but I remember once, this is earlier on in our relationship, and he was playing this game. I think it's like the Red Baron or something like that. It's like I can't remember exactly what it was called, but he was just so into it, and I would go to bed, and he would be up all night. This is he's a high school teacher, so he had the summer off. This is in the summer. He'd be up all
Mhm.
night. I get up the next morning. He'd still be
Still
playing this
there.
game. I go to
Yep.
work. I come back, and he's still sitting there playing this game. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I went and I put on like the sexiest lingerie I had. And I literally, and I straddled straddled the computer. And he's trying to push my leg away. And he's like, I just about
I
got this
gotta get
guy.
this thing.
You know, like, I'm like, oh my God. And I had to have a good, serious talking with him.
I mean, that is so relatable.
Well, it's amazing we're still together, but but yeah, yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that story. Honestly, it's relatable. Yeah, I was one of those people that would stay up all night
yeah.
and yeah, the next morning not feed myself. Yeah.
Right, right. Well,
So, but I mean, the problem is, and I don't know if your husband experienced this as well, as soon as the game was, turned off, I would be left with myself. And it just felt empty.
ah,
So I was living vicariously through these characters and through this experience that software engineers created. I can say that because I'm a software engineer.
right.
Which I mean, the video games out there, they're brilliant. They're completely brilliant. They're very immersive. They're very fun. Um, but yeah, I'd be left with myself and not feeling like I really accomplished anything. And I felt a real pit in my stomach as a result.
Mhm.
I wanted a life that was better for me. Like as a child, I wanted to travel. I was an extrovert. I wanted to meet people and discover things and experience things. And I wasn't doing any of that. So yeah, I got, I, well, I got myself out the couch. What did I do? Because I didn't like exercising, right? Well, I thought back on what I enjoyed as a child.
Mm.
And my sister was into gymnastics. So I remember really enjoying that. I also remember enjoying playing on the playground. I was pretty good at the monkey bars.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I did a little Google research to see what was available in Portland, Oregon, which is where I'm from. And turns out they had circus classes.
Oh, how fun.
So yeah, it's fun. Fun was going to get me off the couch.
Fun was going to get you off the couch. That's key.
Yeah. So that's where I started.
Awesome. I really like that you took some time to reflect on what used to bring you joy. You know, where did you have fun as a child? And I think that's such an easy thing that we can all do, that we can reflect on and find those little things, those moments, and then incorporate them into your day somehow, you know, and go
Exactly.
from there. So did you quit gaming cold turkey, or was that sort of an did you find a way off of the addiction that helped you leave it behind?
Mm.
Is there a
Okay.
patch?
Well, is there a patch? Well, I can speak to what I did,
Yeah.
and I know it's going to be different for everybody. But for me, I know if I'm really into something, I need to really not be around it.
Okay. So like you just cut yourself right off.
I did.
Does
I
that
don't.
mean that you got rid of your stuff? Like did you like get rid of the games, from remove them from the house? That's what my husband had to do. He had to physically
Oh,
remove them from the house to stop them
well,
from playing.
well. I mean, if we're going to be completely open and honest with each other, I got a divorce,
Okay.
and I just said, here you go, you get all the stuff.
You get this stuff. Okay. All right. That's one way to
It,
rewrite your life. Yeah.
well, I mean, it, not to say that the video game addiction caused the divorce, like
Right.
my wake up call caused the divorce. I'm not saying that at all.
Okay,
And I'm
gotcha.
not suggesting anybody to
All right. But
please
that was part of
get
your
premarital counsel. Yeah. Or counseling first, please.
All right, got it. So it was cold turkey. It was no longer having this stuff in your vicinity, keeping it away from you. Did you feel
Yeah.
like you were going through withdrawal? Was there any of that, or were you able to just divert your attention to something else that fulfilled that same kind of craving?
There was definitely feelings of withdrawal. I would replace it with television if it was around. And so I just knew that I needed to get myself out of the house. I needed to get away from screens and remember what it's like to just not absentmindedly pick it up. It's a little like I've got a very similar thing with food. If food is around and it's delicious, I'm just going to unconsciously grab it and put it in my mouth.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So recognizing it and then choosing something else.
okay. Okay, so well, that kind of leads into the question I wanted to ask you about tips that you might have to help somebody break away from their sedentary routines and create better habits and getting outside. So, one, not having, I guess, not having the old habit right in front of you that close it away if you can, so you don't see it, so you're not going to reach for it. Are there
Mhm.
any other tips around how to shift those habits?
Yeah, well, I think goodness, it's interesting because there are people who recognize that it's a problem for themselves. And then there are people, and I would say, a lot of children are so into screens right now, and especially with the pandemic, that's become more so because education moved online.
Right.
So, right, like I said, there are people who recognize that this is a problem, but then there are people who they don't really understand and they don't know that there's another way,
Hmm.
and they might not even think it's a problem.
Let's talk about those who want to change their habits, and then maybe we can address
Sounds good.
the question. Yeah.
Okay. Um, so something that really works for me, because I have reintroduced video games into my life,
Ah.
because it's about finding balance. They're
Yeah.
fun.
Okay. Okay. I love that. Okay.
The thing that has really worked for me is time boxing.
Great.
So setting a timer, and then when the timer goes off, I've got one more task to complete, and then I'm done. Like if I'm in the middle of something, I'm just going to wrap it up, and then I'm done. Um, and then also a reward system.
Ah, I like that too. Okay.
Right.
Good. And any kind of reward, I guess whatever appeals to you. Like, are they big rewards, little rewards? Does it matter?
Well, okay. Say there's something that I need to do, like I need to rake the leaves because it's fall and the leaves need to be raked. I will do that, and then I will give myself the gift of video game time.
Oh, I see. So you'll make the video game time a bit of the reward itself.
Yes.
Okay. Ah, got it. I like that. Okay, good. Time boxing, is that what you called it? Time boxing
Mm-hmm.
and rewarding yourself are the two main tips. And then of course also not having it in line of sight all the time. So
Yep.
out of sight, out of mind. Okay, awesome. Now, let's talk about those who are not necessarily aware of the challenge, and maybe the question should be with children, and what advice can you give parents to help them with their children to prevent children from being on digital devices so much, having so much screen time. I know this was an issue with my kids when they were growing up. But I'd love to hear what your recommendations would be to help parents.
Yeah, I give parents so much compassion for
Yeah.
this. It is so hard. And I want to celebrate the parents who really engage with their children when their children are into video games. And I think that's a really good way to be with their children, is to understand what are they getting out of the game? What is their child getting out of the game? And why are they drawn to it? And so asking them questions to understand that. And then also it's a way to connect.
Mm.
So I have a brother, and he's got a child, and this is my nephew, and my nephew is so into Minecraft. There are lots of kids who are super into Minecraft, so into it. My brother will time box with him. So set a timer, he's got an hour, and then he's got to do something else. But even when he's not on Minecraft, he's talking about Minecraft. He's thinking about Minecraft. He's plotting his next thing that he's going to do. And he's telling everybody who will listen. Right. So my brother engages with him and asks him questions, and it's a way for them to connect. And they do other things, other activities. They go outside, and I think that's really good. Something that I had mentioned is that my brother is also into tech, and he spends his day at work in front of the screen. And after work, he's on his phone.
Yeah, it's relatable.
And yet he's saying to his
Yeah.
son, hey, we got to limit your screen time. So I think there's a lot that parents can learn about their own behavior and how they're role modeling. So that's one thing. Another thing is that I didn't know that I was into solo sports. And what I mean by solo sports is like cycling and gymnastics and backpacking and more recently, kiteboarding and paragliding.
Things that don't require a team to do. Right.
Right. You're
Mm.
not going to learn these at school
Yeah.
unless you're in Europe and they have those programs, which they do. And I'm very jealous. But how are the children going to get exposure to those things that they might not know that they could like? They're going to get it from their role models. They're going to get it from their parents, from their siblings, if they have them, or cousins. They're going to get that from their community. And so I would encourage parents to either, be that kind of role model, or find inspiring role models for their children so that they can experience more things that aren't related to the screen, and they might find out that they're really excited about it and interested in it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And there are so many different things out there that are available to us, and I love that you just did a research and found a circus class. Tell us what else, what other kind of adventures that have you gone on that you've discovered that has helped you stay away from the screens?
Oh my gosh, so many.
Hey, give us some ideas.
Goodness. Well, if you want to get into circus, there are so many different kinds of trapezes out there. There's dance trapeze, there's static trapeze, there's flying trapeze. Did
Wow.
you know? Yeah. I think parkour is a really fun thing to do. I haven't tried it, but that's like the urban
Like bouncing off of walls, isn't it? Like kind of climbing up walls with the with nothing but your
yeah, it's like Ninja Warrior
yeah,
stuff.
Ninja Warrior stuff. Exactly.
You
Wow.
could do this, you could
Yeah.
do that in a video game,
Yeah.
or you could do this in real life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, let's see. So there's that. I got into cycling. my now husband, my forever husband, he's the best. Um, he was really into biking, and so I ended up getting to biking into biking, all kinds of biking as a result.
Nice.
There's road, there's mountain, there's gravel.
You're speaking to a
um,
bike convert. We have so many bikes in this family, the one for
do,
everything. Like, we've got
do
like
you have the
8 bikes.
wall of bikes?
Well, a wall is ridiculous. It's ridiculous how many bikes we have. So that's my
No such
jam as
thing as too
well.
many bikes.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, climbing. I've gotten into climbing. And well, talk about adventures. Last year I went to Nepal and I hiked the Annapurna circuit.
Oh, awesome.
Let me tell you, I mean, have you been to the Himalayas?
I was supposed to go in 2020, but then the pandemic hit, and we were supposed to do that circuit.
Oh,
We haven't gone yet, so it's on the agenda. It will happen.
okay. Well, I know the perfect tour guide.
Okay, noted. Awesome.
I'll let you know. Yeah, goodness, when we flew into Nepal, I looked out the window and I saw these little white shapes and I thought they were clouds. And I looked closer and they were mountains.
Nice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Hmm.
They were so big and so grand that when we flew back to Seattle, Seattle has this mountain, Mount Rainier. It looked so quaint that I just wanted to pat it on its little top and say, "Aren't you cute?"
Yeah, eye-opening
Yeah,
experiences. Wow. Very,
yeah.
very cool. I love what you're talking about. It to me, what I'm hearing is just be open to explore and see what lights you up. Try different things. Um, and there are so many different opportunities that are out there, and you can literally Google, anything and find how you can get involved with something. You can learn a skill by going on to YouTube. You could literally learn how to be a ninja warrior by looking on YouTube. So the opportunities are there to break away from the that sedentary life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
no, go ahead, please.
oh, yeah. So another thing that I was going to say, as a paraglider, especially right now, because it's so front and center for me, what I really appreciate, and I didn't realize how cerebral paragliding is. You got to be thinking all the time.
Hmm.
Um, but when I'm up in the air, I'm feeling the wind on my face.
Mhm.
I'm smelling the surroundings. So if there are evergreen trees, I smell that in the air. If there's the ocean, I'm smelling that in the air. And and because it requires such a focused state, I can't help but be present. I can't help but appreciate the world around me. I could be flying wingtip to wingtip with a hawk. It could be just the most amazing spiritual experience. You just can't get that in a video game.
No, I'm so glad you brought that up. And I believe that's what we are here to experience. That sense of awe, that sense of love. And in that space of awe and love is expansion in the heart. And you started something at the beginning of this episode and said that after playing the video game, you would feel empty inside.
Yep,
And this is the opposite of empty. This is filling up your cup with love and gratitude and awe and wonder.
all of it.
And that stays with you. And you can pull back the memories, right? You can right now, like I'm
I
living this.
feel it.
Yeah, I can see that in your face, and I'm living it with you as you're describing it. And
Hmm.
that's beautiful. It's beautiful. I find my time in nature. I've never been paragliding or anything like that. I'm not sure if that's my jam or not.
It's
But
not everyone's.
no, yeah, jumping out of high places. I don't know. But I get that connection with nature and that presence that you get from being in nature. And on this show, I talk a lot about just getting outside, going for a walk and connecting with your environment, because it does create that sense of presence. It creates that sense of awe and
Mhm.
wonder and love, again, that you can't find from a screen. So,
Exactly.
awesome. So tell us now quickly, what the work that you're doing now. Are you still a software engineer? And we mentioned in the beginning that you've gotten into life coaching and stuff.
Mm,
So is that the work you're doing now and guiding people in this with this transformation?
yes, a very good question. I am not currently doing any software engineering work. I might. It's still fun. But to be completely honest, when my favorite part of my job was being with people. It was collaborating, it was mentoring and managing, and frankly, coaching. I was coaching as a software engineer,
Hmm,
and coaching is something that I'm very passionate about. I want everyone to leave the most extraordinary life they possibly can have. And so I'm very happy to have pivoted into coaching.
nice. I love that. And of course, you've got your book that you've released not too long ago, Becoming an Athlete from Gamer to Real Life Adventurer. I guess we've spoken about that journey. Is there anything else you want to add about that, about your book, that you want our listeners to know about?
Oh goodness. I hope that people are inspired by my story. That was absolutely the intention for me writing the book,
Mhm.
is to understand that I know what it's like to be stuck, and to just give those people who can identify with that a way to step out of that. So that's absolutely why I wrote the book.
Awesome. Give them the tools, I suppose, to help them move forward and create a more
Yeah.
non-sedentary life and adventurous life. Yeah, whatever
Yeah,
adventure might look for you. Yeah.
exactly. Well, and I think it's really important to say that I made this, I will be quite open. I'm 44. I don't look it. Probably because I have so much fun. Um, but I had my wake up when I was 30.
Yeah.
And now I'm living a life that I completely, this version of me, it's completely unrecognizable from who I was back then.
Oh, interesting.
And how I got here was through small incremental steps done over time.
Tell us what those steps are, can you? Or is that all throughout the book? Like, baby steps, a nugget that you can give our listeners right now about what those
Oh,
steps?
the
Or is it
best
different for
one,
everybody?
the best one is that exercising is just one foot in front of the other, and eventually you'll get there.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a good, ties in well with the one step at a time too. Nice.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're hiking the Annapurna Circuit, that's a good long hike.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just one foot in front of the other, and then you make it to the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't matter how long it takes. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So Joyful Journeyer, Amy has offered as a gift to you, if you want to learn a little more about her. She's got her book, and she's offering a section of her book as a free download. And so we'll include the link to how you can access that gift, and it'll give you a good sense, a little more of her story, and you might be inspired to take some more action on your journey to be more to move more, to move your body more, and to really live life to its fullest. It's a big part of that journey, isn't it? Like just taking those steps and creating
Hmm.
the life you really want involves getting off the couch and
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. So thank you so much for the offer of that gift, and we'll make that link available to our listeners in the show notes. And Amy, thank you so much for your time. This has been a delight to learn a little bit more about your story,
Thank
and
you.
and to inspire the audience to start shaking their booty a little bit more, one way or
Yeah,
another.
exactly. Yeah, thank you. This has been an honor.
Awesome. All right. And one more question for you. If people wanted to connect with you, do you have a website that we can drive them to?
Oh, yes. Yeah, my website is flowinallthings.com.
Awesome. Oh, I love that. Flowinallthings.com. That's great. That's an
That's
easy one to
because
remember.
you'll find me in the air, you'll find me on land, you'll find me in water.
Awesome. Going with the flow. Love it.
Going exactly.
Going with the flow. Okay. Well, of course, we'll put that link in the show notes as well. So awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Amy, and Joyful Journeyer. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the like button. Share this episode with your friends, and we'll catch you next time. Bye for now.